Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday, the 7th of November, 2022, about 5:35 p.m. Central Time. Well, 24 hours from now, we're all going to be talking about election results. Should get very interesting. Tonight, I'm going to the Chicago Bulls game, the basketball game, so I'll turn my attention away from everything later tonight. I'm fortunate. I live right by the stadium. I can walk there if I have to. And I do often. And it's fun to go there. You see the Hawks, you see all the events. It's fascinating. I live in a great part of the city. But what do you do with these markets? Because I want to tell you, I walked in today and I walked around my office all day long. I can't figure out what happened today. And I like to have an idea, but I don't have any. On Friday, was hoping over the weekend China would release its policies or change it, the zero COVID tolerance. They doubled down on it. They didn't change it. I thought that you would see a big drop in stock indices. I thought you'd see the dollar take off to the upside against foreign currencies. I thought the metals would retreat, especially copper, gaining 26 cents on Friday. None of this happened. What's going on? I don't know. Is it a bigger change than China? It could be. Could the election have something to do with it? Sure. The market might be looking at a complete change in Congress and extrapolating what that will mean for next year. There's all kinds of possibilities with that. I paid attention to the break in the futures market in the interest rates. Do you think the dollar or anything responded? Nothing. The stock market kept going up on it. Very strange day, don't have a handle for what it's doing. But I don't need it to understand the markets. I need to understand the chart action. And in the chart action, we're going to review that. So pay attention. You have a lot of situations right now where the Bollinger Bands are coming into play. In fact, they've come into play in the gold. You've got to learn how to work with them. At the end of this video, I have an ad video that tells you how to go get the course that we have, how you learn this. It should become a staple of your trading. I really believe that. I think it's so important. And once you master this, and it's easy, it's 13 video chapters, boom, away you go. All right, so let's go to this and take a look. If you look at the weekly chart of gold, yeah, you're getting a rally, but you're still under the 18-week average, so the general bias of the market remains down. When you take a look at the chart action, well, the market's suddenly finding support down here in the 16.25 area. No surprise. Go back on my videos. I was talking 1628 to be specific. What, 3 weeks ago? When we were up here, I said maybe we're coming back into this general level. I was looking at where the Bollinger Bands and some of the other numbers were, and they were right there. Are we trending? Well, the answer is no. You've got a lower low and a higher high on the swing line. Now, the brown line is a swing line. Let me explain what the line is. God, it had to be honest. I'm thinking this out loud. It's got to be in the neighborhood of 20 some odd years ago. My son, who's 38, was in the business with me. He does something else at this point. He's in California. And I said, I could teach you that you can go to anybody on any chart anywhere that they give you and tell them, is it an uptrend or a downtrend, and it's not magic. And I made him draw these lines by hand. I had built an indicator that I hadn't yet shown anyone. And it's called a swing line. And it looks at the previous action of the day. So right now, while we're live action, it's looking at today, be it Monday, so this is Tuesday's action. Are you making a higher high, a lower low? Do you have an inside day, an outside day, up or down? And they gave specific rules where you draw the line as that occurs. And it will form a trend. Now, the basic of all charting, basic. Are you in a trend via the chart or not? After that, you can apply trend lines, you can apply moving averages, your momentum filters, but are you trending? And if you can't see it, you don't have anything. Well, I don't think you can see it, not at all, when you don't have the swing line on a chart. An example, here's the chart without it. Here's it with that swing line. This is so simple. And I created the indicator to work within my charting software, so it's easy for all my customers. It's right there, and they just put it on the chart, away they go with it. You can even write your own formula for it, but I did it for myself, and there it is. I am debating about releasing the formula, and I'll do that next year if I decide to do it. Lower low, higher high, no trend. The market's trading over the 18-day average of closes, but this is important. Why? If you and I step back just a little bit on this chart, I'm not going to be able to do it that way. I played with it earlier. I'm sorry about that. You'll notice that right here on Friday was the first day you got back over the 18-day average on a settlement since the very beginning of October, roughly a full month ago. And now the market's trying to stay over that number. That hasn't happened in a long time. It could be a bleep like this where the market still fails, but it could be something more. It could be that the market is bottoming out. When I put the Bollinger Bands on, I get the idea that we're bottoming or going at the minimum sideways and winding up to do something. Why do I say it? Number one, I don't see what's going to keep breaking the gold down. We're more likely than not getting closer to where the Fed stops raising rates. I don't know if that number is 5.25%, 5.5%, 6%. It's not what I'm saying. But it's certainly a number that is up in that general range if the Fed is looking at CPI numbers of the core CPI, roughly 5 points, whatever percent, and the PCE index at 6%. Okay, headline number doesn't matter to me. The Fed's not going to go after the headline number. The Fed's going to go other numbers that are X, energy, generally speaking, and food. That's what they typically do. So when I'm looking at this, I'm going, gee, we went from the lower band to the upper band in basically 24 hours. And the market tried to do that back here, and suddenly it's narrowed it in more. What's going on? It could be a base. That's all that I'm saying. Are we overbought? Yes. Should the pros have bailed out on Friday if they were long? Yes. Should they have bailed out on Thursday if they were short when you hit the band? Yes. How do I know that? Take the enhanced Bollinger Band course. You learn it. When we look at the gold-silver ratio, the momentum is coming down. But silver, unlike gold, is trying to break out to the upside. Why? You have 2 days in a row over the upper band, and each day made a higher high than the prior day and closed in the very top quadrant of that day. That is a bullish sign. That's nothing but bullish. You'd have to come down and, for me, get back under this low in order to tell me that, hey, it was a head fake and nothing more than that. I'm thinking this is more than that. And I'm looking at the potential for a bullish crossover where the 18-day average for the first time is ready to get back over the 100. If you go back, you don't see that. This whole chart, the 100 was over this market through the whole summer. Something else happening, okay, that gets my excitement and gets me interested. Could be the same in copper. Look at how they're narrowing in on each other. Copper is in an uptrend. It went up 26 cents on Friday, gave back a measly 7 cents. Big deal. It's not acting bad. Is it a buy when it's overbought? Is it a buy when it's against the Bollinger Band? No, the setup isn't there, but something is going on in this market. And could be a head fake. I'm doubting it more and more. The platinum, up and away, up to the upper Bollinger Band for the first time today. This is where I think the pros took profit. And in the palladium, I think that the pros have been getting out of shorts each time you're hitting the Bollinger Band, and it's offered selling opportunities, but no more. Why? You lost the embedded reading. Again, I'm going to repeat, take the course and you get an understanding as to the importance of that. You're probably going back to the 18-day average of closes. In the dollar index, this doesn't look to me bullish any longer. This looks bearish. I admit, the downside looks very limited with the Bollinger Band of 109.52 and 108.56, momentum down, and already in oversold territory. I teach that any reading under 30 is oversold, but there's nothing bullish on that chart right now. Could this all change with a heartbeat by the election results? Of course it could. Of course it could. But now the events in China are more likely to be, since they didn't do anything Saturday, maybe the next event is they do a little bit of loosening. Well, the market's going to respond the way it did last week. That will be important right off the bat. And we don't know that the election results, we don't know what's going to happen. You need a big sweep of types to know which party's going to win which chamber, because we can get so many of the different markets, the ballots that have to be counted, the mail-in ballots, and the complaints that are going to come about. We know some of the races can end up, if you don't win a certain majority in another contest like the one in Pennsylvania, that could go any which way. There's a lot of things that can happen, but we're going to get a better idea. Then lurking in the background is President Trump. And he is threatening, and as much as said it the other night, and I think he's going to reiterate it today, look for a big announcement. It could come. People are saying around the 14th. Well, the only announcement he's going to make, if he makes one, is he's going to run. He's not going to say he's not going to run. There's too much at stake. If he runs, he puts to bed for a bit here the Department of Justice inquiry into him. He's a presidential candidate. Can you really go after him? I mean, it opens up so many questions. I'm not saying you can't go after him. Politically, can you? I don't know. I mean, the game changes. It's an interesting time. So I think you have to pull in your reins a little bit, understand that you're going through a big event tomorrow. I don't like going through those with exposure. I'd like to see how the elections come out. I happen to think the Republicans are going to do very well. And that will nullify, in theory, a lot of the spending that a Democratic president and a Democratic Congress has been doing. All right? Yes, roadblocks have been up against them by the Republicans. And I'm not saying the Republicans are good or bad. I'm saying we're in for a change. And here's the change. Welcome Joe Biden to what was your predecessor's problem. He was fighting this all the time. You've got to fight it if the House and or the Senate go Republican. That's basically what's going to happen. You've already seen it. How much have you gotten done? And that becomes the bigger issue. How much is going to get undone is another issue, because all these powers that you have, a lot of your presidential powers, of course, remain, and your presidential acts. But as you undid Trump's, who knows where those go? It's crazy. And we have to keep our eye on it and see where it goes. The energy markets most certainly will keep their eye on it to see what's going on. But as I said, you want to look at the Bollinger Bands, pay attention, learn from this, take a look at this, please. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time. And on a chart, it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software, so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein, on the road to your education.